Buongiorno, studenti miei. Okay, today we're going to be tempering chocolate. Now, when we did our truffles, I didn't tell you Italian. Our Italian for chocolate truffle is tartufi al cioccolato. Tartufi al cioccolato. Chocolate truffles. All right, so today this is a couple of things about tempering chocolate. There are different types of chocolate. Chocolate couverture always has a percentage. The higher the percentage, it means it has more chocolate liqueur in it, or cocoa mass, than sugar. So we're using, and I said in the truffles, it's 50% chocolate. So it's a semi-sweet chocolate. The more the percentage, the higher the percentage, the more chocolate, the more bittersweet it is. Okay, usually chocolate couverture will have total cocoa solids, which is non-fat cocoa solids, which is your cocoa liqueur, and then your cocoa butter, okay? And also has sugar. There's also an emulsifier added. Lecithin is added to it to emulsify as an emulsifier for the chocolate. And so whenever you're looking for chocolate, depending on what you're doing, then you're going to be able to use that tempering. It'll tell you on the bag what the temperatures are that you need to go with, and there's three different methods, or well, yes, there is three different methods. The first method would be tabling, where you warm your chocolate, you bring it up to the temperature, your melting temperature, then you put it on a granite slab and you work it, agitate it, and you work it until it gets to the pre-crystallization, and then you warm it again to the working stage. So that's what we're going to do, but we're going to do the seeding method. So we're going to warm our chocolate, and then we're going to cool it down with the chips, and then we're going to warm it again to 85 to 90 degrees. So there's different, I'll give you that temperature, of course, in the lesson plan. It'll tell you all the different temperatures. Also, there's also, it's called crystalline, I believe it's called, where you add these crystalline chips to you melt your chocolate, then you add the crystalline, you stir it, and then you take out the chips, and you just use it right away. So there's different ways that they have, and they just keep coming up with different methods. So, okay, so let's talk about our tempering today. So we're gonna take a third of our chocolate. You guys are gonna have, this is 8 ounces of chocolate that each of you have. So I have my heat on already, and I'm gonna add about a third of this chocolate to the pot, and then we're going to start to melt it, and we're going to bring it, our first temperature is, we're going to melt this to 105 to 122 degrees is what our first temperature is. This is the melting temperature that we need to do. So we're going to melt this, and you know, if the pan feels a little hot, if it starts to get a little too hot, then you can always just lift it off of this heat. Now this is very low boiling. It's very, very low. It's just enough to warm the bowl and to melt our chocolate. So it doesn't have to be boiling water, and because any type of water will ruin your chocolate. So you don't want to boil and have all the steam coming around the side, because that will ruin the chocolate. So you want to be careful with that. So we're just going to melt this. Now I know I have an infrared thermometer here. So it's telling me it's 89 degrees right now, and so I know we're still okay. We've got a ways to go to melt this, but I'm also going to try our thermometer that we have, our regular pocket thermometer here, and that should work. I made sure I calibrated it, and everybody knows how to calibrate, correct, with the ice water. So I'm going to see how well the calibrated thermometer works doing this as well. So that way you guys have an idea, because I know you won't have an infrared thermometer to take the temperature. So I'm going to pull this off for right now and take its temperature. So we're at 100 and about 100, what do I need to go, 105, so we're about 114. So that's great. So let's see what my thermometer will read. I'm going to put this in here and see if I can get a good reading on here. hopefully it'll tell me. So actually, I think if you just keep putting the chocolate on top, yep, actually it'll work. It'll actually work. You just have to keep pouring a little bit of chocolate on there to show. Yeah, look, it's 114. It's 114, so that actually works. So that's going to work for you. So that's great. So now we have to drop this down. We're going to add the rest of our chocolate here. Now we have to drop this temperature, and this is what seeding is called. It means that we're going to cool off the chocolate as we're going. And so the heat is going to dissolve the chocolate. And so we have to drop this down to 79 to 82 degrees is what we have to do. And so just constantly stir it. We don't want to put it back on the heat because this is the pre-crystallization part. So this is just where the agitating, this is where you would put it on the table. It was, if we had melted the whole thing on the table, in the bowl, and then poured it on the granite, we'd be moving this back and forth constantly to get our chocolate back to what we need it to be. So we're just going to start doing a little by little, and just keep stirring it. That's all we can do. I know it's a little time consuming, but that's okay. You can see the chocolate, it keeps melting, and the warmth of the chocolate keeps melting. If we have to, we can take the temperature and see where we're at. And so we're still a little warm. So we have to keep pulling it down. Keep stirring it. So now with mine, it's still working. It's still melting. It's just taking its time, of course. And the more you agitate it, the more the chocolate will melt, and that's fine. So now we still have to. So we have quite a bit of chips in there. So maybe I added just a few too many chips. So this is a good lesson. So let's do this. I'm going to, since I added so many chips, and it's let's see what our temperature is. It's already at 77, which we just needed to bring it down to between 70 and 79. And I have too many chips in there. So let's go back on here, and we're going to start over just a little bit. So, and you can do this. You can start over. So we're going to warm this again. We're going to melt this down. We're going to start over to 100. So I would say do half. Warm half of your chocolate in the bowl, and then that way you can work it. So now we're going to do half. We're starting over. Okay, so I want to melt this down to 100, between 105 and 122 degrees, just to get to, and then we're going to add a few chips to bring it down to what we need to, and then warm it again. So my issue was that I added too many chips on the second part and not enough in the first. So let's see what our temperature is. It's only 90, so we're fine. Okay. So this is 105 to 122 is what we need to do here. And so like I said, I started over. Just add more chips when you first melt your chocolate. So we're at 100. So we gotta bring it, we still gotta keep warming it to 100. I'd say probably in between. It's between 105 and 122. So we're gonna shoot for about 110 is what we're gonna go for. And that's where we're at. We're at 110. Okay, so now I'm just going to add very few chips. I'm not going to add that many this time to bring this temperature down to 79 to 82. Let's just add a few chips. And seeding means that we're adding chips a little at a time. So the first time I just added a few too many chips and it got too cold. So this time I added very few. I'm just going to keep stirring it, and this is the agitating part. Good. Okay. So let's see where we're at. We're at 99. So we still have a few chips in there. So let me keep stirring it. So I don't want to add too many because then it will have too many chunks. We don't want any chunks of chocolate in there. So far it looks good. So that few chips, probably, I can't tell you how many I added. Not very many.